Welcome back to an understandings to a Mr. Jack Blacklist. Understandably, the understandings is what is a gangster, and the understandings is to say speculations. It wouldn't matter if it was 1865, 1765, or 1455 for the demographic, for the numbers of what's pushed on the actual understandings of ordinance within the system itself. It's what we all led to understand. If I put myself in the position of the shoes of the actual magistrates or that of a judge, to say if we're in the demographics of an actual piece to go reality on the basis, it wouldn't matter for all I have to know in the actual understands to put my actual gabble down, like put the gabble down and go, the gabble is going down. That's to say you understand the basis of the laws of understandings, whether it be this or that, you've done the right thing or the wrong thing. It's like, just to say, the charge of gangster because of the charge of a hoodlum, speculations, because of certain understandings that questionably it turns around from the lifter audible. Lifter audible in that the understandings of one of the job files of the Mr. Jack Blackley is to have the lifter itself, where it's pretty much based in, let's say, New South Wales, Australia. It goes in the understandings to say Wollongong into Sutherland Shire, into the Kosciuszkos. It's on the actual piece that I put it there. It's a bit of the Mr. Jack Blackley, but I wrote it in to my actual story where I wrote it all down and penned it all in, penciled it all in, that it would come up to be an actual job file which went on to the inner west, car theft things that went on the sports games of the Chinese of Haymarket, as I mixed it up and said they were abducting people like that because they wanted to make sports games on a retractive look back and like cordless drill their skull, replace their fucking eye, and have their shit to play with from an actual tether. Alright, bit of fool's play, fictional story, yes, not reality, but in the basis of my story, works well to itself. But in that, let's say the whole thing, access, the speculation of this to why it's a something. You just got to understand for all those gangbanging gangsters who's seen their parking ticket disappear because their lawyer knows a bloke who knows a bloke, and their parking tickets for the understandings of a good time and a new Versace suit in retirement and a lovely Rolex, the TikTok. It turned around that the understanding is access of when it comes up that you are the one who have deleted your parking tickets and you are the one who has turned around and had your misdemeanor scratched off the system, and you are the one. And you're like, the noun and verb out of the Webster's, Collins, English, Oxford's dictionary, all of these dictionaries turn around and say the noun and verb is to access. What is that? It is carriage or service to obtain and have usage. Carriage and service to obtain and have service and usage. You have to obtain that service and usage. Now, you've got to understand, to have that access, like you are the one. I don't have access to any computer of the understandings that would even be close to that. The only people you got to understand as you represent yourself in the courts, because it's that easy to understandably overthrow, is turn around and say, look, the only people who have the access to obtain a service or carriage of that quality nature is the police, and that the magistrates themselves. The magistrates and the police. And that's the law or the gov, and that this is like counteracts its own self. You wash it for about 12 weeks in a long, slow little dribble. You dress up in your lovely Versace if you have one, or you wear your bloody Keith Urban cowboy hat. It doesn't matter. They turn around and they just like, in the end, the judge has to wash it in some situation to say which way will it play itself out. But if you're smart like that, in the actual understanding of the Mr. Jack Blackley, in that to see how it plays, He says one thing in the courts. Now, Your Honour, he goes back. He goes all the way back. He stands. And goes, Your Honour, with my heart on my Bible and my hand on the Bible. He turns around and says, understandably, I do not have access. I am not guilty. Because understandably, the verb of understandance and that the noun is to obtain a carriage or service of that to use its service. And I don't have access. No access. The only people who have access is the understandings of a magistrate, the police, and a whole heap of others who have the access to those computers and be high enough, because it's got to be like official, to be in the actual situation of it and turn around and from a thing of like not guilty on that because you don't have the access, you turn around, how does that even play? But it's in the actual understandings that he gets pushed in because he go into it. The understandings is in the actual Mr. Jack Blackley of it. It's a bit boring, but he does it and they do it, and then yeah, it's a bit of a something like 6 minutes of me time talking, watching. There's music off, some kind of noise in the background. Don't worry about chit chat. Could be some kind of football team. What's football? Foosball. I don't know. But that's what it's at. So there's a bit of Mr. Jack Blacklist, a piece to put in. I'll probably load this on the computer because I'll lose or forget, or I like to upload it on there to keep my pieces all together for the people that work with me and make bits and pieces instead of having to hack my system or be ease in the house. They'll go on the computer and see that it's there and then tether them all up, make their own from it. Does its own situation on that, runs itself on properly. It's not much, it's just pretty much adding a piece on in that the court case, and that the piece of it doesn't matter when the actual time of understanding is, that the magistrate turns around and says it wouldn't matter if it was 18 or 30, 54 for what you get to know it as within the demographic I added on. But that's it, 731 piece. Shark Marceau, thank you.